All right, and welcome to the mobility flow. This is going to be a general mobility flow for warming up or waking up in the morning. So we're going to start off with a couple of these movements. We're going to do each of these movements 3 times in the video, but you may do more reps of them for whatever the prescription is. We're going to start on the ground. You could use a yoga mat or an ab mat. And our first movements are going to be a fire hydrant and a bird dog. So with hands and knees in this position of a tabletop, you're going to take opposite hand and leg. We're going to reach out, come back to the middle. You might tap the hand to the knee just to regain that center and switching sides. Again, for this video, we're just going to do 3 to 5 reps, but you might do it for more. After those, we're going into a fire hydrant. So this is where one hip is moving out to the side, then coming back in together. Switching the sides, only moving from the knee and imagining that the knee has a laser on it and you're going out to the side. We're then going into an alternating pigeon stretch. So from this position, I'm just going to rotate so I can face you guys in the camera. Knees underneath the hips. You're going to take one leg and alternate, switch over the other. So my knee is crossing behind my other knee. I'm sitting into my right hip, which will be the left hip in the video. Then I'm going to switch sides, cross over. My left is going over my right. Switching sides, making sure I keep the stretch in the back side of the hip as I'm rotating here. Hold for a couple seconds. And remember to keep this stretch dynamic. We're making this a movement flow and not a static stretch for each position. So alternating pigeon stretches. From this position, still staying on our knees, we're going to put one knee out to the side. We're going to rock backwards. As we rock back, I'm going to thread one arm up toward the ceiling and then come back down. Reaching my hips forward, getting a little bit of stretch here. Rocking backwards, reaching with the hand. Coming forward, walking my hands, I can open the hips, walk the hands back, feeling a stretch through that straight leg as I rotate the hand toward the ceiling, forward and back, reaching with the hand, switching the sides. So a couple things that I'm thinking about here is making sure I'm not rounding my back too much as I sit back, but I want to make sure I'm moving dynamically and not just creating stiffness in myself as I extend and come back. So that would be the adductor rock with the reach. Our next movement is going to do a prayer stretch or a rock back stretch as I'm threading down below with my hand. So I'm going to do this one facing you guys. I'm going to take one hand, reach through so I feel a stretch in the opposite side of my back. Reach my hips down toward my heels, feel a stretch in the lower back and the side of the lat, and then come up. Now I'm going to alternate, take this hand, thread through, grab the ground, find some tension, and sit backwards into that stretch. You feel a nice pull through the side of the lower back of the hand that you're reaching with. So I'm reaching through, grabbing the ground, sitting back into my heels, alternating sides. Perfect. So that is the rock back stretch or the prayer stretch with the threading the needle, so putting one hand down and below. Our next stretch, since we're still on our knees, we're going to take one knee and push it up. This is going to be a hip flexor stretch. We're going to take our hip flexor stretch and make it something dynamic forward and backward. So you're going to see a stretch of the down leg as well as a stretch of the front leg, but on opposite sides of the body. So hands at my hips, I'm going to slide my hips forward. I can do a reach overhead, and then I want to sit back into this hamstring, feel a nice stretch to the hamstring, hold the toes up toward my nose, alternating sides, reaching overhead, and then rocking my hips back, feel a nice stretch through this front leg. Reaching up, and then finding my hands to the ground or grabbing my leg, reaching for the toes. On this one, we're staying on one side of the body to do all of our repetitions, and then we're switching sides. So I'm gonna put my knee down, putting this foot down. I'm starting with right angles at all of my joints. From this position, squeezing my glute, my hip flexor forward, reaching overhead, feel a nice elongation through the front side of the body. And then I'm gonna sit my hips back. As I sit back, I'm gonna feel a stretch in the back leg here. Coming overhead, sitting back, feel a nice pull through the hamstrings. Reaching up, sitting back, find that hamstring stretch. Make sure we're using some of the tension of this front leg to assist us into that position. Dynamic, guys, right? We don't want to be static in any of these positions for too long. That would be our hip flexor plus our hamstring dynamic rock back position. Now that we're upright, we're going to sit back onto our hips. We're going to work on twisting and a little bit of rotation. I'm going to face probably the camera 3/4 angle here. From this position, start nice and tall. You're going to put your knees just slightly outside your hips. My toes are going to be up toward my nose. You're going to pick a side that you're going to start to. So my hands are going to be back. Let's say I'm going to rotate to the left first. So my left knee goes down and then my right knee goes down. My right hand comes off the ground. I'm going to reach overhead. Now I'm going to still keep roughly 90 degrees at all of my joints. Lean forward. As I lean forward, I should feel a stretch in the hip of the knee that I'm facing. So if I'm turning to the left in this case, or your right, I'm gonna feel a stretch in this leg as my sternum and my chest goes toward that side. I come back up, nice tall chest, big and proud. Find this hand back in the ground, open the knees, switching the sides, coming up nice and tall with the chest. And I'm going to take my belly button and my waist and reach my waist forward as I do this stretch. That will ensure that I'm feeling the stretch in the hip and not in the back. If you're feeling the stretch in the back, one thing you're probably doing is just folding over and you're just feeling it on the lower back. What I want you to do is stay nice and tall, lean with your belly button and lean with where your belt buckle would be, and let that belt buckle push you into that position. So I'm leaning with my chest. I'm not folding over like a sad flower, right? So I'm staying tall, and then I'm reaching, switching sides. Stay tall, reach with my hips as I get over toward my knee. Making this dynamic, alternating sides. That would be our 90-90 alternating hip stretch. We're going back into our knees for a couple rotation stretches for the upper body before we go into standing. So I'm going to drop my back knee, lift my top. I'm going to stabilize with my opposite hand. So if my right knee and right leg are down, my left hand comes on top. I'm going to reach forward with the left side of my body. I'm going to take my palm up toward the ceiling. I'm going to reach away, forward, retract, and reach away. And go forward and reach back. And go forward and reach back. I'm exaggerating by adding a little bit more flair with reaching and twisting, but you can also stay nice and tall and just rotate as if there's a dowel from my head to my hips all the way down to the knee, and I can just spin in position here. So you can make a little bit of this stretch your own and feel out what positions are going to feel the best for you and what you need to work on. Maybe one day you're feeling just like, okay, I just want to twist, right? I just want to work on some of my upper back and my chest mobility because that's my neck's been hurting sitting at my desk. Maybe I want to reach and work on stretching out some of my obliques or my QLs and getting a little bit of twist and a little bit of flair in there. All right, this is where you get to be the chef. take this stretch and make it your own. So that would be our half kneeling rotational stretch for the thoracic spine. We're now going to take two positions. We're going to go into a static lunge where we're going to do an overhead reach, working on hip flexor and hamstring, and then we're going to work on our rotations as well. So from this position, I'll stay in my split lunge position, so my back knee just comes off the ground. Let's say split squat here, come off the ground. I'm going to feel a stretch through this hip flexor, the one that's facing you in the camera, as I reach overhead. And then I might rock my foot back as I sink toward the ground, reach overhead, rock back, sink towards the ground. I'm going to keep my stance a little bit closer as I rock forward and back, up and down, up and down. You don't have to touch the ground. Sometimes it might feel a little bit nicer. You can make this dynamic as well by moving the feet. No wrong way to do this stretch. We're just opening things up, getting a little bit of a sweat going here, because this is your wake up mobility. We're gonna do one more. I'm gonna show you the other side here. So I'm starting in my lunge, reaching overhead, whoop, coming down, reaching overhead, find the ground, rocking my hamstring back, reach overhead, find the ground, rock the hamstring, reach overhead, find the ground, rock that hamstring back, my toes are coming up, reaching up, find the ground. Or I can make it dynamic, right? So I can go lift, reach down, reach up, pull that heel back, straighten the leg, come down, reach overhead, find the heel, sweep the ground, reach for the sky, plant those seeds, reach up, sweep the grass, right? You could turn that stretch into your own. So that would be a little bit of a morning wake up for you guys here. This would be a mobility flow, a couple drills you can put all together and get your day going.